I played Hunger so that you would have to anyway. Wow, what a title. Hunger is the next small extraction shooter. Why small? Because it's an extraction shooter. Recently the playtest has ended and I put a decent amount of hours into it. I did pretty much everything there was to do besides all the quests that were available in this playtest. And I want to talk about the game. So what really is Hunger? It's an upcoming extraction game, not just an extraction shooter, it's more of an extraction RPG. It's set in the Napoleonic era. You know, back when Napoleon used to rule, I guess. I don't know shit about history. This already makes the game pretty unique. Not many shooters are set in this period. In fact, I don't think I know a single one that is. As far as I know, the games that utilize this setting tend to be like strategy games and stuff. When it comes to the lore in this game, I don't know much. But let's just like put it this way. Basically some kind of COVID happened. People turned into zombies, I think. Not all of them did, but the ones that didn't fled the continent of Europe to a place called the Chateau. Yes, I'm aware I murdered that into oblivion. The Chateau is basically the hub from which you queue up for raids or expeditions in this game's case. You talk to NPCs, take quests from them, buy from them, sell stuff to them. You can also see other players in this place. Compared to other extraction shooters, most of them do not have a hub like this. You know, they have a regular menu. Now let's talk about gameplay related things like gunplay, movement, swordplay, and all the other things. So gunplay in this game is only part of the combat. Like I said, the game is set in this Napoleonic era. Back then they had guns, but they also had swords to slice bread with. In the early game, most guns are going to be able to shoot 1 or 2 bullets before having to reload. You're going to be using muskets for the most part. Since this game isn't fast-paced, aim does not really matter all that much. As long as you are able to move the mouse, you should be good. Early game gunplay is all about just getting one shot off. That will put you at a huge advantage over the enemy team. Later on, you do unlock or start to find guns that are able to shoot more than 2 bullets before having to reload. They tend to deal way less damage per shot. And just in general, guns in this game are only really useful for medium to long range fights. As far as I'm aware, there are no shotguns. There's nothing really that would be better in close range than a melee weapon. Overall, gunplay is satisfying. It feels good to hit shots, but sometimes shots that feel like they should have hit simply just don't. I don't know if this has something to do with this being a playtest or there are some like hidden gun mechanics that I'm not aware of, but I missed many shots that I would have bet my life that they would have hit. Moving on to melee combat. Like I said, melee combat is for close range combat. Usually you pull your melee weapon out as soon as you get a shot on the enemy and then you just chase them down with the melee. Melee weapons can block, stab, do some kind of overhead attack, then basic attack, and heavy attack. Of course, it depends on the type of weapon, which attack is going to be the best. A sword will always have higher stab damage than a mace. There's also a feint mechanic. Basically, you can pretend to attack and then not attack if you want to like bait some type of movement from your enemy, either a block or a dash. So there's quite a bit of mind games involved in this game's melee combat. When it comes to the movement in this game is very slow. You want to know how slow it is? Try and get up from your chair or couch or bed or wherever you are and try to walk like you're not late for work. Of course, there is sprint, significantly faster than walking, but arguably still slower than sprinting in many other games. There's also a dash, which I mentioned earlier. You can use it to avoid attacks from enemy players or AIs. It's just like a short dash, but it is very useful. The maps in this game are pretty interesting to me. The way I would describe them is they are not designed like maps for an FPS game. They are more designed to be like just a place, like a real life place. If you take a look at the maps, it's basically just forests everywhere. There's a lot of foliage on these maps. That is not exactly the greatest thing for visibility. You can literally just hide in bushes. But this isn't a competitive game despite it being PvP, nor is it a regular extraction shooter. It is an extraction RPG, so I don't mind the RPG kind of map design. It is very immersive. It feels nice to run around the map and explore. And the maps are very reminiscent of walking around in Kingdom Come Deliverance. All 3 of the maps that were available in the playtest deliver on that foresty vibe. The quests in this game may be even more interesting than the maps. This game does not hold your hand when it comes to questing. There are no quest markers on the map. You have to read the quest description, open the map, and go where the quest tells you to go. Sometimes it's a little bit vague and hard to figure out where you need to go. But overall, as long as you have a brain, like you don't have to be smart or anything, just have a brain and you should be able to complete all these quests. A lot of people won't like this. The game is definitely not designed for the modern gamer who wants to watch the game play itself, but figuring the quests out is like half the fun when it comes to questing in this game. The quests themselves aren't really anything special, nothing that we haven't seen in like every other RPG game ever. There are fetch quests and other types of quests that you did in World of Warcraft back in 2005. Some of the quests are a bit grindy because this game is designed for long-term progression. Some quests will require you to obtain certain rare items that can take a while to get. And the quests, of course, tell a story through dialogues with the NPCs. As of right now in the playtest, the dialogues were not voiced. It was just text, but this game didn't come out yet, so this will probably change for launch. Good Fun Corp is not a giant company. They probably couldn't afford voice actors just yet, but I think when the game releases into early access and they end up making some money from it, I imagine they'll probably pay some voice actors to voice these quests. Graphics in this game, I mean, it looks pretty good. It's a UE5 game and it looks like one. I've heard that they downgraded the graphics for this playtest because the previous playtests ran pretty bad. I mean, I watched many Hunger videos before I got to play the game, and playing the game for the first time in this last playtest, I was surprised at how the game looked compared to what I had seen before. It doesn't look bad, but compared to old footage, it kind of does. The biggest reason for that is the foliage in this game just doesn't look right. No matter how I set my settings, it never looks right. But that's pretty much the only complaint I have when it comes to the way that the game looks. And I'm sure that this is something that will be polished for early access launch. Since Hunger is an extraction RPG, it also has features that come with it being an RPG. One of them is professions. In this game, you can pick 2 professions per character. I went with whatever's equivalent of mining and swordsmithing. I forgot the names of them. So you can craft gear, weapons, food. There's food in the game that you can eat to gain buffs that last anywhere from 4 minutes to like the entire raid, depending on the rarity of the food. Buffs such as reload speed, which is very useful because reloading in this game can take forever, stamina regeneration, increased loot speed, and so on. I want to talk about the things that I really dislike about this game. There aren't many, but there is one that I just can't get behind. So Hunger is a character-based game. At first sight, it looks like a hero shooter, but it's actually like class-based. I don't really get this thing with modern games looking like hero shooters, but then they're like, oh no, actually I'm class-based, you know. Marathon is like that, Hunger as well. Now, I don't really mind that this game has characters with abilities, even though I don't like that. What I do mind is this. When you level up a character to level 100, you can prestige that character. And once you do, you're able to use that character's abilities on any other character. I mean, I don't need to explain why this is a terrible thing, but I will. The whole point of a character-based game is that when you see an enemy player, you see what character they're playing, you know exactly what you're up against. If I see an Eva, I know that she has a blind ability. She can flashbang me, in other words. And knowing that, I'm not going to just run into her and let her blind me, because that way I just lose the fight instantly. But with how you can put any ability on any character in this game, what's gonna happen is you're gonna fight, let's say, a Marie. And then you're gonna be like, okay, I know what she does and what she can do. She's a healing character. I am safe to run into her and stab her with a melee. But then suddenly she blinds you, you know? There's no way that you could have predicted that even being a possibility. So yeah, I don't really understand why the devs designed characters like this. I think in this case, and especially since the game is an RPG, it would have been way better if we could just customize our own characters, just like you do in most other RPGs. You make your own character, customize the way it looks, give it a name. If they want to have abilities in the game, they can have a classless system where the abilities are tied to like a piece of armor. You equip a specific piece of armor and it allows you to use a specific ability. Because like I said, I mean, there's literally no point in this game being character based if you can use any ability on any character. Now, who is this game for? Is it super hardcore? Can casuals play? I would say as far as extraction shooters go, in my opinion, this game is both casual and hardcore. Casual because it's not going to have wipes, no forced wipes, no voluntary wipes, just no wipes at all. The game is designed for long-term progression, and that means if you play casually, you will still get far eventually and your progress will never be reset. One of the reasons why people hate extraction shooters is because they wipe their progress. And while this one doesn't, that can be a problem. If you fall behind, there's not going to be resets. You will never again be on a level playing field with other players. But I guess they will have some kind of matchmaking, something like gear-based matchmaking, to make sure that if you fall behind, you don't just permanently get stomped by geared players. However, I'm a bit worried about this game's longevity. It'll be very difficult to keep the game fresh without wipes. I don't think that Good Fun Corp will be able to put out content at a fast enough pace to keep people interested in playing the game for a long time. As much as I want it to be like a game to play for years, I think it'll probably be something to play for a couple to a few hundred hours and then maybe come back for the updates and check them out for a short period of time. Hopefully I'm wrong about this. Playing and learning Hunger in this playtest was very fun. The game is a very unique extraction shooter that has a lot of sauce, a lot of cool characters, skins. And speaking of skins, I need to talk about this game's monetization, another thing that is to be worried about, because in Hunger there's not going to be a skin shop, I'm pretty sure, because you are able to craft skins in game. Some skins require you to level up, some others require you to find a schema for it, and then you just craft them with in-game materials. My question is, how are they going to monetize this game to really have some kind of consistent income? Because obviously the game is going to cost something to get into. I assume like 30 or 40 USD will be the entry price, but that won't be enough if they plan to, you know, run the game for years. I do have to say, it is very nice that skins in this game are not going to be bought, and instead you're going to earn them by playing the game. There's so many things about this game that remind you of old gaming before all the MTX and stuff. And finally, to answer the most important question, is this game woke? No, it's not woke.